Hello, people. Welcome to the Clygro podcast, episode 2. Today I'm going to be talking about some stuff, such as cool things, an opinion, and of course, I'm going to self-promote at the end. Only at the end, though. That's the important thing. Well, okay, I'll say that, but I'm literally going to do a recap of my most previous videos. I guess that's a bit of a lie. So, my last 7 videos was how to jailbreak iOS 5.0.1 in 2023. This video basically came to me when I was trying to jailbreak my iPhone 4S on iOS 5.0.1. But Absinthe didn't work because of the fact that the website goes to dead by the looks of it. So we're going it's basically just a glorified web app thing, and it wasn't in the Internet Archive. So what I had to do basically was exit of the app, go in settings, and enable the VPN. That simple. So that's literally what I did. I found that out by asking it in r/legacy jailbreak, so I'm getting a reply. I thanked them and everything. The video before that, I'm not sure which order I should go, the most recent or the oldest first. That's actually a good point. But before that, it was the iPhone 4/4S Adventures Episode 2, where I installed a bunch of apps. It was quite annoying how slow the App Store was. I didn't realise how long it would take. Probably took at least half an hour to install those apps, probably even more. It was ridiculous, and the fact that Asphalt 8, no other apps started to install until after Asphalt 8 hit about 60% downloaded, so that was quite annoying. Before that, it was the iPhone 4S/4 Adventures Episode 1. Similar thing. I got a bunch of, it was the job lot. I was expecting it to arrive later. I was expecting it to arrive either on the Thursday or the Friday. And, after that, I was just kept on thinking, oh, isn't there going to be a thing to arrive? And that would have been the 4/4Ss, but since it already arrived, nothing new. So yeah, 7 devices in total, 4 4s and 3 4Ss, with one of each being iCloud locked, unfortunately. But the other 2, they work. They were functional. Well, okay, the other 4S on iOS 5 has Wi-Fi grayed out. I already have a white 4S with the exact same problem. But yeah. Oh yeah, I wasn't expecting one of the iPhone 4s to be 32 gigabytes. That was quite a surprise. I really don't own that many 32 gigabyte iPhones. Literally all I've got is my 7, because that's the minimum amount. My first 4S, you got my 2 3Gs, and that's it. So only 4 devices in total, iPhones in total, for actual iOS devices. That's a different story, because I've got my 2 iPad minis, they're both 32 gigs. I've got a 32 gig iPad 2 on iOS 5.1. My iPad 1 is 32 gig, and is there anything else? I don't think so. And then I've got a 64 gig iPad 2 cellular and a 64 gig iPad 4 cellular as well. So yeah. Before that, it was just Chrono Photo instead of Time Guesser, because Time Guesser was getting a bit boring, where I was getting the same images, I knew where they'd be, and so on. So I mixed it up. Before that, it was the Windows XP Adventures. Now, I was actually quite surprised that Multi-MC still supports Windows XP, which is really cool. The only problem is you're limited to up to 1.16.5, as newer versions, 1.17 and above require Java 16 or 17 or whatever. so you can't run newer versions, but you can run 1.16.5, which is recent enough. It's better than like my Power PCs, which theoretically can actually go up to 1.12, not 1.11, which is interesting. I still haven't got that working. Maybe someday, okay? But yeah, I was quite surprised about that. Browser, I shouldn't be that surprised. I mean, I've already used my power before, but 360 browser, whatever it's called, it's even more up to date, more usable. Might as well take it. I was also quite surprised at how well the virtual machine performed. Like, I was still getting about 30 FPS on Minecraft inside the virtual machine, vanilla as well. Well, I say 30 is a bit more like 20 when I was in the Hypixel lobby. So I think I literally only tested the Hypixel lobby, so performance should pretty much be better. And also, I didn't change the settings at all, so you've got to remember that. But yeah, I think it's quite surprising. I mean, I sort of knew VLC was still supported XP, but like, yeah, I didn't really realise. And then, I tried to get Steam, didn't seem to work. I knew it was an old version, so I remember when they dropped it. So yeah, and also now they're starting to drop Windows 7 and 8.1 support by the start of next year, which is not nice. It's quite sad. So Windows 7 and thing. Now the reason why is quite simple. It's because of them using the embedded Chromium browser, which has like started to drop support already. I think Chrome no longer supports 7, if I recall correctly, and 8. So that's quite sad, really. I think it's sad when these operating systems get drop support. That's literally my thing, and especially when its core functionality of a web browser, yeah, that really should probably support as much operating systems as possible, if I'm being honest. That's my opinion. That's sort of my opinion already. I told you I'd give my opinion. So, yeah. So, let's move on to the iOS 6 on iOS 8 adventures. Now, I got an iPhone 6 on iOS 8. Was surprised the tiles literally says that. But I mean, that's sort of the point. The tiles should be as clear as possible to what they're on about, It makes sense. So, iOS 8 on the iPhone 6. Yeah, that's my. So I've got the 4. Okay, no, hang on, So that's my. You got the 6S. Is it literally just 3? I think it's just 3 iOS devices that have that non-downgradable to its original version on its original version. So you got my iPhone 4S on iOS 5 now. You got my 6 on iOS 8 and my 6S on iOS 9. But it's on the setup screen on the hello screen because it's unactivated. So yeah, 3 I believe on its original version. It doesn't sound like a lot, and to be fair, the reason why I'm saying that is because I have an iPod Touch 4 on iOS 4.1, iPad Mini on iOS 6.1.3. Also have stuff that aren't on their original major release, such as my iPod Touch 5th Gen on iOS 7.0. I've got an iPhone 5C on 9.8.2. I've got a 6 Plus on iOS 9.2.1 and so on. But yeah. Okay. So I was quite surprised. I mean, Discord on iOS 8 is a lot more stable than it is on iOS 9. It crashes a lot on iOS 9. It's probably because it tries and loads something they doesn't have, like the client doesn't have, it's just like what, and then crashes. That's sort of already the problem without Discord, because I believe it crashes because of the like bios and the banners, like user banners, all the user customization essentially. But yeah, I believe that's why. Okay, next video before that was fixing my setup part 2, and I was literally just brought up my desk from downstairs up here, put bought two of my monitors up here. One of them used to be up here, the other hasn't, and yeah, that's pretty much what I did. The annoying thing is my Power Mac G5 on the Opti, the side panel's on the left, but on the G5 it's actually on the right, and that's a problem because I used to have the little desk bit on the right because I could open up the side panel easily for Opti, but with the Power Mac I can't. So really the solution would probably be either flip it around, but I don't want to do that, I don't want to change, it's just complicated. So instead I removed one of the top panels of the thing. It's actually supposed to be a bookshelf, by the way, and boom. Now, so I've got somewhat easier access. It's still a bit of a pain, and to be honest, you're probably just better off pulling it out from there instead. Okay, finally, before that, a week ago at this point, was the Power Mac G5 Adventures 2. What did I do? I can't actually remember. I need to. But basically, the Power Mac G5 is quite a powerful computer. It's not that much else to say. And then, like, the 2 videos before that is like the iPhone 3GS Adventures Episode 3 and Episode 2. And, like, Episode 2's got over 200 views. That's really popular for some reason. Also, the Power Mac G5 Adventures, I know you can't see this, has 3 likes, despite it only having 10 views. To be fair, there was a person who did comment a lot of stuff and also subscribed to me because of that video, and yeah. But yeah, I've pretty much recapped all my last videos over the last sort of week. So yeah. Now, I guess the time is my opinion. I'm going to go a bit more detailed about this because I sort of came up with an opinion earlier. Web browsers should try and support as many operating systems as possible. Now, that is already kind of the case, technically, because you have Firefox. What platforms is Firefox on? I mean, go into like the Wikipedia and like Firefox version history, I believe, is where it is. But basically, what I mean is eventually when Wikipedia loads. But what I mean is you have like browsers get released on like OpenBSD, the obscure Linux, like a Delhi Linux, and so on. Like, get really, obscure stuff. But yeah. So, for example, I mean, to be fair, it only says Linux desktop for the Linux bit. But I'm pretty sure somewhere it should say about OpenBSD. Androids, lies. Oh yeah, there's like other bit. Yeah, so you've got OpenBSD here, all cool. So it's like, you've got for all other operating systems. So you've got Solaris HPUX, which has got only up to 3.5. 9, which must be, I don't know, let's sort of have a rough idea. 3.5, 3.6.28 apparently released in 2012, so back 2012 time, essentially. I don't know why, but it's just got not applicable. I don't really understand. Put 2012 or 2011 potentially. You don't know. But yeah. So you've got Solaris HPUX and OpenBSD for other. So that's already quite a bit. And then of course you've got Android, then you've got macOS, Linux and Windows, And then you've sort of got the iOS one, but not really. To be fair, there was a Gecko port to iOS 6 back in like 2012. But of course nothing really happened to it, unfortunately. And I believe they're now doing a Gecko port again. So, the App Store restrictions, thanks to the EU. But as I've said, what I mean is it should try and support as many operating systems as possible. So, by that, I simply mean how, like, what versions of Windows do you need for it? Well, the answer is quite simply 7 or later or Server 2008 R2. So, 7's still quite recent, and to be fair, compared to Chrome, which I believe did drop support, let me just quickly check. Chrome version, Google Chrome version history now. I believe Windows 7's no longer supported. Let me just quickly check. So, you've got Firefox that Firefox is doing alright at support, but I believe 108 dropped was like the last for Windows 7. 107 dropped support for Android Marshmallow. That's quite recent in the Android world, I'd say. It's like Android apps are much better at like supporting older versions because a lot of devices are just sort of stuck on these old versions of Android, which I think is a good thing. And at the end of the day, because you get all these newer versions, and then don't forget when it's not being updated for most stuff, unless it's like Roblox or something like that, the latest version will just work for however long. I mean, you have like versions of Twitter from 2012 that still work perfectly fine. Well, I say that you do need to do a bit of modification. I know what it's like on Android, like old versions of Twitter, but yeah. So Android no longer supports Android 6.0 no longer supports any new versions of Chrome, but let me check. Oh, it was 109 that dropped support for Windows 7 and 8.1. Okay. So it's a bit weird they dropped Android and Windows at the same time. But meanwhile, Firefox, still supports Windows 7. Like, I mean, it's alright, but, like, considering, people have got, like, MyPal, which is, like, a web fork of, well, I thought it was, seems to be, like, Firefox Pale Moon, but, no, it just quickly did if we said MyPal should pop up. So, Snowden's your way with the, apparently it's got, oh, it redirects me to Pale Moon. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, also I find it weird that, quite annoying that Pale Moon requires Windows 7 or later. It's just too much. Considering it's like, sort of like, just a fork of like Firefox. I don't like. I'm not sure if it was even 20, but like it's just like, really old version of Firefox with, some stuff done to it for, like compatibility and maybe security, you never know. Okay, so apparently Palmy 27 was a major refork of the core browser code to Firefox 38 extended support release. So that was before Firefox dropped support for Windows XP, by the way, because Windows XP Firefox was, let me quickly check, 52. So that was literally, I believe, the update before Firefox Quantum, which was like the one, the big update to Firefox that basically caught it back up to Chromium, essentially. And then since then, Firefox has started to go behind Chromium, because you've got all of these web browsers that are now basically just forks of Chromium. Okay, so the last version was 52. So you're using a version that's long, like definitely compatible with Windows XP, but it doesn't run on it, which I think is ridiculous, considering it would have. But they got some custom stuff. But you've got MyPal, which I believe is a fork of Palmoon, but I believe it's like forked off of Firefox 68 as the version. I'm a bit confused, but it still supports Windows XP. That's the main bit. It's a brand, it's a not to, well, say up to date, it's an older version of Firefox, but, it's quite a recent fork of it, it's like from 2021 and whatever. So, you should technically be fine. I mean, stuff did work. 360 browser, whatever it's called, had like a bunch of text rendering issues, so basically the menus wouldn't work, and also it sometimes just wouldn't load some websites. I don't know why it was hard to read. Was it? I think it had the same text rendering issue, and so on. So you had those problems as well. But so that's of my opinion. Web browsers. Oh, I should probably tell you why. That's probably a good idea. So people, of course, say, "Oh, Windows XP is not safe to use when connected to the internet in 2023 because you could get all viruses and security issues." But the truth is, yes, that's true. It's a 21.5-year old operating system, so true. However, applications drop in support however long. I mean, there's been stuff that like dropped Windows 8.1 support a while ago. I think iTunes drops that quite a while ago. What else? It's definitely more stuff that I can think of that dropped support. Oh yeah, I believe Fortnite technically dropped support for 8.7 and 8.1. This is the focus. Like just like a couple of days before it lost support. Actually, no, I think it was after, slightly after. Never mind. But like applications dropping eight. Yeah. Okay, actually, a better example would be Vista support. What ran out of Vista support? I'm trying to think of these things, but I literally cannot remember. I mean, Firefox technically works. Oh, Chrome dropped support for Vista before it lost support. I believe they dropped support in 2015, whilst Vista was dropped in 2017. That's one I can sort of remember. I mean, also, I'm not sure if I believe also iTunes dropped XP and Vista support at the same time. If so, that would mean Same case 2015 compared to 2017 when Vista lost support. I might be wrong though, okay? That's just on top of my head. But yeah, you get all of these sort of stuff. Actually, was it? No, I'm pretty sure it was early 2015. 12.1, I believe, last supported XP. Okay, so you've got that. So, dropping support for older operating systems might make sense if there's some technical issues, but I really don't think it's very necessary most of the time, because the truth is that especially if there's like a way to get around them from dropping support, then clearly it's not a technical issue. It's just you limiting your user base essentially. And limiting your user base equals less money, which is just ridiculous, let's be real. But yeah. So dropping support for older versions, sometimes it makes sense. But if you can really just hold on of typing 5 more lines of code just to do a simple thing instead of like one single line of code or whatever, because of like something introduced in like a new version or something. I'm not a programmer, these are sort of assumptions. I probably should have said that earlier. But some stuff like that, I honestly, especially if it's a web browser, because a web browser is one of your main things you do on the internet, basically. Also, I've just thought a lot of like Electron apps must be dropping Windows 7 and 8.1 support because of Chromium, and I believe Electron's also dropping it. But to be fair, Discord uses like an ancient version of Chromium, Electron. Which yes, it's also Chromium, but like, yeah, you've got that sort of problem as well. But like, Discord's just rubbish. Just use it in the web browser. That's always what I do nowadays. But yeah, so Electron, that's like, I believe Microsoft Teams. You've got Discord, as I said. Spotify. What else? Spotify. I'm really not that knowledgeable. I think Slack might be. I don't really use them. I just use them in the web instead, as I said. But yeah, dropping support for all of these applications. To be fair, it's probably Electron's dropping support because of Chromium, not necessarily because they want to. But yeah, so got like all of these things dropping support. Ooh. But like that, at the end of the day, the truth is, dropping all of these applications, not having the latest version, just creates more security issues. You don't even need to be like a security expert to understand this. It just creates more security issues by dropping support for whatever applications, and so on. So I think people need to really realise that, think before dropping support for older things, especially considering, Windows 7 is still popular, like, it's way more popular than 8.1. Like, apparently, according to Steam, it was only like 2% or whatever. No, I think it's 1% or 1.5% or something like that. And, they're dropping it basically at the end of the year or the start of next year. Both close enough descriptions, really, if you think about it. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's just stupid. And thank God, you have software like Multi-MC and VLC still supporting it. And apparently, only Office, except for it just wasn't doing anything when I was opening it. It's like a different legacy version, but it's still there. It's not an older version. So I'm not sure necessarily what's going on, but it's quite cool, only Office. But yeah. So, hopefully you understand a rough idea of my opinion on that. Now, I think this is going to be the end of the episode. So let's do some self-promotion. So, I've got a couple planned. So, of course, this podcast is going up on Sunday. Now, yesterday I would have done my April Fool's thing, and the answer is I don't actually necessarily know what I've done for April Fool's. I need to get working on it now, essentially, as soon as I finish. But I do pretty much know, well, have a rough idea of what's going on there. But that's not my point. This is the future plans from when this was being uploaded, which should be a Sunday. So, what's next after tomorrow? What's tomorrow? So it'll probably be. I've literally uploaded it as well. Yeah. So the next video will be about my 2023 so far, mainly focusing on my YouTube numbers, which have been absolutely absurd, especially in the month of March. After that, it'll be the 4/4S adventures. After that, it'll probably be my Power Mac G5 adventures, maybe something like that. And then the rest is to be determined. Okay? So, that's sort of the plans. No real channel updates, really. Let's remind you all about my socials. So, I've got a Calc key. So, if you've got a Mastodon account, your Plurona, your Comas, your Miss Keys, your I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, a Mastodon. Basically, your Fediverse. Then my handle is Clygro at Calckey. No, Clygro at iCalckey dot cloud. By the way. Yeah. So that's my Calckey. My Pixel Fed is Clygro at Pixel Fed Social. Or my PeerTube is Clygro at Third Zone, and my website, for those unaware, is clygro.cc. So hopefully you enjoyed this little podcast thing. We've been going for 32 minutes, almost 33 minutes. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, what I just said. If you're interested, go have a look. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for listening. That's a bit of a weird thing to say. Goodbye, people. Bye.